applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm ready to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built the win, applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm ready to win, yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for another episode. And I normally got an intro, but the first game start in about 12 minutes, so I'm gonna just run through everything real quick. So please, first of all, like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, helps the network. It helps my channel, CTC, by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. I'll get to the shows and everything at the end. I'll do poll talk at the end, because I want to start already, because we got a game in about, like I said, 10 minutes. We got Memphis at Navy today, 7:30 on ESPN. This is the Week 14 Weekday preview finale show. So I'm going over tonight's game and 7 games I got picked out for y'all tomorrow. Now also, tomorrow I'm gonna come at y'all with an episode about bowl watch and scenarios for championship week, if I can find those. But for sure, I'm gonna come at y'all with a bowl watch episode. It won't go towards the record. I just want to put a bowl watch episode out. So let's start though with Navy at Memphis. This game got some implications in the American Athletic Conference. If Navy wins, they have one loss in the American and they're right there for a chance to play for it. Memphis wins, they're playing spoiler, with North Texas only having a loss, and South Florida only having one loss. So big game here for the Navy midshipmen. Memphis, I believe, are eliminated. They are just here to play spoiler. So actually, let me pull that up real quick to fact check everything I'm telling y'all. Let's see. Yeah, Navy is 6-1, Tulane 6-1, North Texas 6-1. Navy lose, they are out. Memphis is already eliminated. So boom. So Navy, stay ahead of the chains. You want to stay ahead of the chains with the option offense that they run now. They did show the ability to pass the ball. They showed the ability to have an explosive offense against South Florida. But all in all, you do want to stay ahead of the chains. You want to contain Brandon Lewis' legs. You definitely want to do that. You want to control the clock. Clock control is huge for the midshipmen. The more they stay on the field on offense, the better it is against that Memphis offense that has a bunch of athletes. You get them athletes off the field. So that's huge. And you want to convert on fourth downs because they do like to go for it on fourth and shorts. You want to convert those fourth and shorts. And finally, you want to force turnovers if you are the Navy midshipmen. Now, if you're Memphis, you want to establish the run. You want to establish the run against this midshipman defense, You want to play gap sound defense because you don't want to be out of assignment football, because if you do, that's when the big plays for an option style offense occur. So you want to make sure that you are doing everything to a T because you don't want big plays to happen. Defend 4 downs because Navy, they do like to go for it. They do like to go for it on fourth and shorts, and they do convert. So you got to be ready to defend for 4 downs. And you want to get Cortez Branham the ball and get Navy offense behind the chains. Now, I accidentally wrote down the wrong team. I'm going with Memphis. I wrote down Navy. My winner is Memphis because Memphis has those athletes that is tough to stop for the Navy midshipmen. Now, I do think this becomes a high-scoring game. I do think Navy has athletes. These Memphis Navy games normally are good ones. I remember going back to what Blake Watson for Memphis had a day 2 years ago against Navy. These are normally good games. And I think this is another good game, but Memphis being at home, I think that Memphis edges them out. Like I said, man, they're here to play spoiler. And with that in their back pocket, I do think Memphis beats Navy tonight on ESPN. So that's my thought on this game. So I just wanted to get that out. Now, you know what? We'll just finish it and I'll talk about everything later. Next, we got Iowa at Nebraska. This game is 12 o'clock on CBS tomorrow. Now, Iowa comes into this one as 6.5-point road favorites in this rivalry game. This is a huge rivalry game. Now, no Big Ten implications on the line in this game. Both teams are eliminated from Big Ten championship contention. Both teams are eliminated from playoff contention. So this is just old-fashioned rivalry hate right here. So for Iowa, the road team, you have to stop the run. Dylan Raiola, he's out for the year. So they're going to be leaning on the run game of Emmett Johnson. You have to stop the run. Force third and longs. Again, no Dylan Raiola. So you got to force some third and longs. Getting off the field, putting the ball in the hands of a quarterback who's, I mean, he's played a couple games, but he's not Dylan Raiola. He's not the starter. So definitely you want to force third and longs. Next, you want to establish Kamari Moulton, the guy, the running back who's been the guy all year. Definitely want to establish him. Let's see, Mark Gronowski. Again, I say it every week. He has to be accurate. Mark Gronowski has to be accurate. So it's no different this week. And you got to run him. You still got to run Gronowski. Yes, he got to be accurate and all that, but you still got to be able to use his legs and everything like that to add that extra dimension to your offense. Now, for Nebraska, you got to establish Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson has been your bell cow all year. He's the bread and butter, especially for the backup. You got to force third and longs as well. Again, that forces Gronowski to throw the football, which does work in your favor. Got to get off the field on third downs, establish Emmett Johnson, and contain Mark Gronowski's legs. But overall, you got to stop the run. Nebraska has been terrible these last few weeks in stopping the run. USC was able to run the football on them. I just had this in my head that Penn State was able to run the ball on them. And Iowa loves to run the football. So Iowa for sure is going to try to run at them. And for that reason, that's why I'm picking Iowa. Last year, Nebraska did a great job containing the Iowa offense. But what happened? Caleb Johnson, late game, broke the game open. They scored, and they won the ball game. This year, I think Kamari Moulton, Patterson, those guys, Deshaun Patterson, I think that they break the game open running the football, which has been Nebraska's Achilles heel all year. So I'm taking Iowa again in this matchup to win the ball game. I don't know if it'll be close. I'm going to say it may be close just because of the rivalry factor and everything. But if Iowa were to go out and win by 2 scores or more, I wouldn't be shocked. Just because, like I said, their ability to run the football and Nebraska's inability to stop the run is why I wouldn't be shocked if Nebraska absolutely gets boat raced here. Next, we have Ohio at Buffalo. Ohio comes into this one as 6.5-point road favorites. This is big for Ohio to keep their chances alive in the MAC championship contention. Buffalo is eliminated from MAC championship contention, losing to Miami of Ohio last week. So they're just here to play spoiler, just like Memphis is for Navy. So Ohio for sure is going to get Buffalo's best shot. Now, for Ohio, you got to run Parker Navarro. He has been the key for the Ohio Bobcats offense for the past 2 years. Establish Seal Bengarua. He's coming off the performance the last 2 weeks. He's definitely also the key to the Ohio offense. Forced turnovers. Buffalo in their last 2 games have been turning the ball over like crazy, and that's why they've been losing. So Ohio has to do the same, and they do have a defense that can become really good at times. Get Chase Hendricks the ball and stop Al-Jay Henderson, the running back, possibly best player on the Buffalo offense. Now, for Buffalo, you got to contain Parker Navarro's legs. That is going to be huge. You got to contain the legs of Parker Navarro. Where am I at? Protect the football. Stop turning the ball over. That has been key for, like I said, that's been key in the losses that Buffalo has been taking the last couple of weeks. Give Victor Snow and Nate McMillan the football. Stop saying Sia Bangura and go off the field on third downs. But my winner Going with Ohio to stay alive for a chance at the MAC championship, man. They have, without a doubt, not been playing their best football of late. They haven't. I will not lie to you. The loss to Western Michigan was bad. If they didn't lose that game, they would have possibly, they would control their own destiny here. Which is why Western Michigan, excuse me, controlled their own destiny and won against Eastern on Tuesday and punched their ticket to the MAC championship at Ford Field on next week. I think Ohio wins. And then, it's winning. Hopefully you're in. But Buffalo just been turning the ball over too much. I think Ohio's going to be able to run over them. And I just see Ohio winning this game fairly easily. So give me Ohio to beat Buffalo. We move on to a neutral site game. Huge rivalry, clean, old-fashioned hate. Georgia at Georgia Tech. Well, Georgia Tech technically home team, but the game is at the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. This game is at 3:30 on ABC. Georgia comes into this one as 14.5 point, again, road favorites, but it's at a neutral site, so 14.5 point favorites. For Georgia, you gotta just get a few stops, man. A few stops looks like that's all you need to be Georgia Tech of late, because Georgia Tech defense has been horrendous as of late, giving up a ton of points. Just period. NC State, Boston College, Pitt, they just gave up a ton of points. Now, what I will say about the Georgia Tech defense is they did buckle down late in basically in the second half, only giving up one touchdown in the second half. But I mean, they dug them and the offense too. Let me not get the offense off the hook. They both dug themselves into a huge hole that was tough to get out of. Next for Georgia, run Chauncey Bones and Nate Frazier, contain Haynes King, force turnovers, and keep your foot on the gas. Now, what I mean by that is I think they will go up early a lot. Do not relax. Keep your foot on the gas. Keep scoring. Do not let Georgia Tech try to come back and hang around. You keep putting up points on that scoreboard. Now, for Georgia Tech, defense has to show up like they did in the second half. You cannot allow a team as good as Georgia to score almost every possession in the first half like they did against Pitt. You got to come and show up and show out. So, they're going to be huge there. No bad turnovers. That pick six was a backbreaker that Haynes King threw in that second half. If they would have scored, it would have been a one-possession game. Instead, that pick six made it a three-possession game, and that just felt like a dagger. Now, Georgia Tech was able to work themselves back into the game, but the defense, playing as much as they did, gave up a big play to Turner and basically put the game on ice. Run Haynes King. Obviously there. Let Haynes King attack downfield. When Haynes King is allowed to attack downfield, big plays are there to be made. And I think they need to let him do that. And they got to score, because Georgia's going to be on the same thing. But my winner, going with the Bulldogs, man. And I trust me, I get it. Last year, a lot of people had them blowing out Tech, but we had the 8 overtime masterpiece in which Georgia was able to pull out the game at the end. I don't see that happening this year. I could have kind of saw it last year because we didn't know what Haynes King was, because Haynes King was battling through injury last year. And the week prior, he just looked like a decoy. And then that next week, he came out balling. But Georgia Tech is who they are at this point, man. The defense stinks. The offense can be very lackluster at times. And I just don't see it against this Georgia team, man. I get this Georgia team is not as good as Georgia last year, but this Georgia team has been balling, has been dominant. And I think they dominate up front against the Georgia Tech defense, and they pretty much get whatever they want on this defense. So I'm rolling with Georgia. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a blowout. May take it down to 13.5, but give me Georgia in this matchup versus Georgia Tech. Next, which, by the way, this hurts. Y'all know me. Coach Key's my guy. This hurts, but I got to be real. Next, we got San Diego State at New Mexico. Earlier in this year, I would have not have picked New Mexico to be in the running for a Mountain West Conference title. But here we are, man. New Mexico is still in the running with a chance to possibly make the championship game in the Mountain West. San Diego State definitely controls their own destiny here, with their one loss in conference being to Hawaii. Other than that, they've won every other game, 9-2 in the year. Looking for a 10-win season are the Aztecs this season. Like I said, in sole possession of first place. So if they win, they're in. New Mexico, if they win, they would be in first place, owning the tiebreaker over San Diego State. So they need to win or they are eliminated from the Mountain West contention. So Let's get into it. San Diego State. Someone has to step up in Jordan Napier's absence. He's out for the remainder of the year. He got hurt in the Boise State game. In such a rather, I don't want to say stupid, crazy fashion. I'll say that. He got hurt. So somebody got to step up at the receiver position for him. Establish Lucky Sutton. Force turnovers. I think that's going to be big in this one against New Mexico. With Jack Lane having 9 picks on the year, definitely got to force some turnovers. I think, like I said, that'll be huge. Pressure Jack Lane. Ed Denegal, no picks. He has 7 on the year. He only has 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He got to be good. No interceptions. Now for New Mexico, give Keegan Johnson the ball. That's your playmaker. That's your big play guy. He's Jack Lane's bread and butter. Got to get him the ball. Stop the run. That's going to be huge. Force Denegal to beat you with his arm, especially missing Jordan Napier. Let's see here. I have force 3rd and longs. Protect the football. And convert on 3rd downs. What I mean is the San Diego State defense is for real. You're going to have to convert on 3rd downs. But my winner is San Diego State, man. And I get it. Long are the days where New Mexico got blown out by San Jose State. I get that. But this run game, I think, has a day against New Mexico. I really do. I do think Lucky Sutton has a really good day. This defense, I think, suffocates Jack Lane, forces a couple turnovers, gets some short field to where San Diego State can put the ball in either the end zone or score 3. And I think New Mexico has a tough time scoring against San Diego State. And I get it. They're having a great year. Again, long are the time early in the year where they got blown out by San Jose State. I just think the San Diego State defense is a little too much for this New Mexico offense, and I think that's the difference in the game. So with that being said, I am taking San Diego State to beat New Mexico. My next game, we have Boise State at Utah State. This game is 4 o'clock on CBS Friday. Boise State comes into this as 2.5-point road favorites against Utah State. Like I said, this game is 4 o'clock on CBS. Now, for Boise State, you got to establish the run. Again, there's no Maddox-Madsen. So, or Maddox. What I always mess up his name. There's no Madsen. He's not going to be there. Max Cutforth is yet again the starting quarterback. You got to establish higher gains in this running attack. You got to contain Bryson Barnes' legs, protect the football, get Max Cutforth some easy rhythm throws, and can the defense score? And I get it. No, Marion McCoy, he's out. But can this defense score to help this offense? Now, if you're Utah State, you want to run Bryson Barnes, pressure Max Cutforth, force 3rd and longs to pressure Max Cutforth, stop the run, and get Braden Pagan the ball, your leading receiver. And for this game, I'm going with Utah State. Why am I going Utah State? Because I'm not really trusting Max Cutforth with the potential of the Mountain West Conference Championship game on the line, which Boise State does have the potential to make by winning this Utah State game. They lose, they are out with 3 Mountain West Conference losses. They win, they have 2, and UNLV would have 2, which they beat UNLV, so they're on the tiebreak over them. San Diego State has 1. If they win, then they're, like I said, they're automatically in. So it'll be San Diego State, Boise State. San Diego State loses, however, it does get interesting. I don't know if they play New Mexico head up. I don't remember if they do. I'm gonna check that right now. I don't want to say they do. New Mexico does have 2 losses. I know one of them is Utah State. Boise State lost to Fresno State. That's right. They did beat New Mexico. Okay. So, yes, Boise State would be in with the win no matter what. They're in with a win, even if New Mexico wins, because they do have the tiebreaker there. No, they're not. If New Mexico... It's tricky. Just know Boise State needs this win. But I'm taking Utah State, which will eliminate them from the Mountain West Conference. So I'm taking Utah State. Next, we have Texas A&M, 3rd-ranked Texas A&M at 16th ranked Texas. Now, Texas needs this game. Texas A&M undefeated. They win. They're in the SEC championship. Obviously, they lose. It gets dicey. Texas, if they win, they may be in contention for the playoffs. If they lose, however, no playoffs, no SEC, no nothing. So this game is tomorrow, 7:30 on ABC. Texas A&M is 2.5-point road favorites coming into Austin. Now, if you're Texas A&M, you got to pressure Arch Manning, run Marcel Reed, establish Ruben Owens, get Kevin Concepcion and Mario Craven the ball, and stop the run. Those are my keys for Texas A&M. Now, if you're Texas, force turnovers. You need explosive plays against this Texas A&M offense. Even then, it might not be enough at South Carolina, but explosive plays go a long way. especially against this defense. Established Travion Wisner. You need the good Arch Manning. Arch Manning has been Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde this year. You need the good Arch Manning. And you need to force turnovers and contain Marcel Reed legs. That'd be huge as well. My winner, however, and I know Amari Daniels is doubtful. He's doubtful, so I'm assuming he's not playing. But my winner, it's tough. But I'm going Texas A&M in this tough environment. Both defenses are really good. But Marcel Reed so far this year has been playing on another level. And that's coming from a guy who hasn't been the biggest Marcel Reed fan. He's been playing on a high level. And I think against this Texas defense, with his ability to throw and run the ball, with his two weapons on the outside and Kevin Concepcion and Mario Craver, it's just a lot for this defense. And I do think that this defense will play well. But how well will they play, in my opinion, until it breaks? That's the question I asked about the Texas defense against the Texas A&M offense. And which Arch Manning will I get? That is another question I have for the Texas offense. I just have more questions of the Texas side of the ball than I do on the Texas A&M side of the ball, which is why I'm going with Texas A&M to win the ball game tomorrow night. And the last game we got for y'all is another rivalry. We have Arizona at 25th ranked Arizona at 20th ranked Arizona State. Friday, 9 o'clock on Fox. Now, Arizona comes into this game as 1.5 point road favorites in this rivalry matchup. So, for the Arizona Wildcats, you got to get Chris Hudson the ball, your best receiver. Establish Ishmael Mahdi. Contain Jeff Sims' legs, because that's what he loves to do. He loves to run the ball. Force third and long and force turnovers. Now, if you're Arizona State, you have to run Jeff Sims. He had over 200 yards in that win. What was that, 2 weeks ago? He broke the Arizona State rushing record for a quarterback. So you definitely got to run him. Protect the football. Jeff Sims is a turnover machine. He has been throughout his collegiate career. It hasn't reared his ugly head so much, but throughout his collegiate career, he has been a turnover machine. You got to protect the football. Establish Relief Brown, who had 200 yards last week against Colorado. Get Jordan Tyson the ball, who is the best player, in my opinion, on the team, and pressure Noah Fida, the quarterback for Arizona. But my winner, I am going with the Arizona Wildcats in this matchup. I just trust Noah Fida to get the job done. I think Arizona's defense does a great job containing Jeff Sims' legs, forcing them to beat him with his arm. And I'm not a guy that prescribes to Jeff Sims beating a team with his arm. So I'm going to take the Arizona Wildcats to win this one. That is all the games I have for y'all today. We are going to, like I said, go in reverse order. We are going to go to Poll Talk, where I talk about the college football polls for a little bit. Now, 1 through 3 has stayed the same. Ohio State. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me take this banner down. Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M are 1 through 3. Actually, we'll say 1 through 5. Georgia's at 4, Texas Tech at 5. No problems here for me. 6, Oregon, jumping Ole Miss after a big win against USC. No issue for me. No issue for me at Ole Miss at 7. I really have no issues from 1 through 12. 1 through 15, I have no issue. Michigan at 9 and 2. They have been getting dubs. I mean, Northwestern one was ugly, but then you blow out Maryland on the road. A lot of people would put stock in that. I mean, Maryland hasn't won a game since what? Wisconsin. So there's that. Texas at 16, I'm not mad at. USC drops 2 spots to 17. You can't use the head-to-head matchup anymore. USC has the worst record. They're 8-3, Michigan's 9-2. So the head-to-head is out. So I'm not cool there. UVA at 18, kind of disappointed. I think a team that is possibly playing for the ACC championship should be higher in the rankings, but they don't have the name. That's what it is. So I'll say this. If UVA was in front of everybody, maybe at 15, maybe even at 14 above Vandy, would not be mad. 19, Tennessee. Y'all know how I feel about Tennessee. They have no good wins, and I think Vandy's – let me save that for myself. No good wins. So I don't even think Tennessee should be ranked. 20, Arizona State. Obviously, I think they should be in front of Tennessee. 21, SMU. 22, Pitt, which, I mean, they beat Georgia Tech last week, so they kind of deserve it. 23, Georgia Tech. 24, Tulane. And 25, Arizona. I really have no qualms with the top 25, to be honest with you. I think Tulane is the leader in the group of 5 if they win their conference to make the playoff. So them being ranked is cool with me. I don't see any other team that I would have ranked. Maybe JMU, maybe. But even then, I'm okay with them not being ranked. But for real, I kind of agree with the College Football Playoff Committee, to be honest. Maybe have UVA a little higher, in my opinion. as a team that's possibly going to win the ACC. But other than that, I'm pretty fine with the polls, to be honest. To be honest with you, and that's going to end the show. Now, like I said, we are a network. We do have shows. We do have the main show every Tuesday, Friday, 7 to about 8:30ish, featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. We have Unfazed Tuesdays, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, featuring Joe and AJ. We have BWT Baseball with Teddy. We have FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs, which no episodes for him this week. We have RBO Road Ballers Only, featuring Vaughn, NBA Show. We have the highlights and lowlights of sport, Dave's Doghouse, and we have in the red corner boxing episodes featuring Tyreke and Tomo on Sundays. And that is all I have for y'all today. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Thanksgiving. I'm about to go enjoy the rest of mine. Shout out to Michigan State, beating North Carolina, remaining undefeated today. Great win. Shout out Jeremy Fears, obvious player of the game in this one. But like I said, I'm gone, y'all. Hopefully my Ravens can get the dub. Peace.